Alrighty, hey everyone, welcome back. So today was an actually really good day for us in the Bitcoin miner space. Miners were popping. Bitcoin was doing okay. It wasn't that bad. We do have some good news stories, obviously, for Bitcoin adoption and things like that. We'll get into all of that. We'll talk about Cleanspark getting to 50 exahash. What does that mean for them going forward? Right, we'll talk about that as well. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I have for you guys. I think that's it. We'll get into Q&A after that. And so it should be pretty short and sweet here. So as always, you guys know the drill. Not financial advice for entertainment only. Do your own research as always. And full disclosure below that. And if you would be so kind, hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously. And let's see what we got going on today with Bitcoin and the miners here. So let's get into it. Bitcoin was up just a little bit today. It closed above the 50 simple day moving average, which is nice. We closed today at 106,141. So we were up 0.68%. We're up a little bit in the new day now for Wednesday. We're up 0.44%. We're at 106,605. So we're still holding pretty good for right now. RSI is looking pretty good on the daily, at least right now. RSI is lower, and price is actually higher than we were before that, or right around there. So we're still looking pretty good. On that, 4 hour is still looking pretty good. I mean, love to see that actually be a little bit lower, but we are still where we were back here. Price was at that point higher a little bit. 1 hour chart here looks pretty good, right? RSI has been coming down, price has been going up. Like seeing that. So we'll see if this continues going forward, or if we're going to have a little bit of a correction here happening in a couple of days or a week or so. We'll see when this plays out, because we had battled with the 50 SMA before as well. And we can see that going back here, where I talked about it in previous shows as well, right? We battled with it, we got above it, we went down, went up, and then we finally went below it. Hopefully that doesn't happen. I don't think we will, but just be mindful that that is a potential of happening here as well. I think Bitcoin had a correction there. I think we're due for a nice run up here to possibly 135, 150, and then have a correction like we've had in the past as well, and then continue our run up even higher as that goes on. All right, now for the markets were all up today, which was nice to see as well, and the miners benefited because of that, along with some good news here from some miners at least. So that contributed to some nice growth here in Bitcoin mining stocks. Bitfarms was up 7% today. BitTier was up just a little bit, 0.64%. Cypher was up nicely, 9%. Cleanspark on the news, obviously today, getting a 50 exahash here, was up 13.45%. It is now battling with the 200 SMA. CORZ was up quite nicely as well, 7.58%. It's above the 200 SMA right now. Hive was up 10.78. It's back above the 50 SMA. Hut 8 was up 8.5%, and it's kind of getting back to battling with the 200 SMA. IREN also did really good today, 8.26% on the day. It's continuing to do very, very well here. A lot of rumors swirling around this one here. They could possibly be getting close to getting an HPC ideal potentially. Right, we'll see when that happens. But man, based on the stock movement here recently, it's doing pretty well. Maybe there is some truth to that. We'll see. Mara was up 4.94% today. It's above the 50 SMA and 100 SMA as well. Riot was up 8.09%. It's back above the 200 SMA. Wolf was up 7.56%. It is above where it started out today. Well, that's above the 100 simple day moving average as well. MicroStrategy was up just a little bit, 2.68% on the day. Galaxy was up 6.66%. Sign of something. What else we got here? Coin was up nicely today, 12%. Coin has been on a nice tear here recently over the last couple of days. It's getting close to its previous all-time high, possibly, that it reached back in December of last year. Let's see if we go back further. Did it actually have, I mean, from when it went public here. So it's getting back up to those levels, which is nice to see as well. So that's awesome to see. Let's go back to the daily here on this. MetaPlanet was down again today, 12.47%. It's had a rough couple of days here. Last, 6 days or so of trading. It's been 6-7 days of trading has been down. On that one, who else? Similar was up, actually down a little bit here today, 0.23%. GME was up 2% on that one. Let's see, still quite a ways away from where it was here just a couple of weeks ago. Small miners, for the most part, were in the green here. DMG was in the red, was the only one. DigiPower was up 9.28% today, kind of bouncing there a little bit. And then the ETFs were up nicely today. BitQ was up 3.29. BKCH was up 7.9. DAP was up 2.2. And WGMI was up 7.35%. So that was kind of nice to see there on that play out. And that's basically it. So really good day. Love seeing those. I'm sure you guys love seeing those as well. I want to see a lot more of these kind of days going forward here in the next 6 months or so. We really need these things to start going up higher, especially as Bitcoin goes up higher. I think they will follow suit as well. But yeah, so that's it on that. Let's take a look at the network hash rate really quick, see where that's at. Is it still kind of heading downwards? And it is. And it's kind of surprising here. This is on the 7-day average right now. The 7-day average is down to 799. Last time we were this low was back over here back in March. Surprisingly enough, we were this low at that point. If we look at the daily average, the 1 day, we definitely did dip quite a bit here. We went down to 672 exahash. We're up a little bit here on the in the last day or so. What's contributing to that? I think it's personally I think it's the heat. If you guys are in the United States, you know that we've had a pretty much of a heat wave, a bubble, whatever you want to call it. And that I'm thinking is having an impact on a lot of the operations for Bitcoin mining, right? A lot of these places are in this heat wave right now. So what does that mean? Well, when it gets that hot, you have a lot of AC running in a lot of places. That's going to be drawing a lot more power. So that means prices on power are going to be going up, meaning that the miners are probably curtailing. So we'll see what the results are for June for the miners here when they report. But I'm guessing it's because of that. Was a big portion of that, right? Would it mean? I mean, let's see here. We peaked at here on the daily at 1,666. So we're down about 300 or so, roughly, exahash on that. The big miners that I cover, at least, they wouldn't all be. Well, they have probably. I don't even think they have close to that. They'd be probably close to it. I think they're like a 250 exahash combined or something like that. So there wouldn't be even that on them. So it's going to be just in the United States and other parts of the world as well. I think it's just the heat, possibly the summer months, are having an impact on it as well. All right, 30-day average here, we can look at that. That's definitely been coming down here. So that's down to 885 exahash right now. We peaked at 908. All right, so that's not too bad here. Right now we have seen obviously these dips happening here. Not a big deal here, I don't think. The good thing is that the network difficulty is going to be coming down approximately 8%, I think. So that's going to bode well for the miners. They're going to be able to generate more Bitcoins because of it. The ones that are still operating. So that's good there. Okay. Next here, really quick. Bitcoin is up 1.7% in June so far. We'll see where we end up at. We got a couple more days left in June until Monday of next week. I think is the last day of the month. We'll see where everything ends up at that point. But at least we're in the green here. A couple days ago, I thought we were going to be in the red here. But at least we're in the green. So that's kind of looking good there. Bitcoin ETF inflows here. See how that shakes up right now. We've had a continuation of more buying here. I mean, we've had a number of consecutive days of green inflows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, possibly 11 days now in a row of, Bitcoin inflows into the ETFs here. So that's good. We'll see where BlackRock comes in as well. And let's get into some of the stories that we do have here right now. First one is nation states estimated to own Bitcoin here. Let's look at this right now. Direct purchases. El Salvador is the only one that's been direct purchasing, right? They got about 6,000 BTC. State-backed mining. Bhutan, 11.7 thousand BTC. Argentina, Brazil, Ethiopia, IREN, Oman, and Russia potentially there. Seizures, United States, 198,000. And seizures, United Kingdom, 61 BTC. China, 15,000. Venezuela, 240 BTC. Finland, 60 BTC. And then indirect exposure via government investment, UAE, 4.7 BTC, Norway, 3.8, Switzerland, 1.1. And then hacking theft, North Korea, 778, and donations, probably Ukraine there. So it's kind of interesting. Take a look at how that is playing out right now. And we have a lot more countries that possibly will be getting into this game as well going forward there. Next year, the Fed has removed reputational risk for Bitcoin and crypto in the banking sector. Powell said banks are now free to provide services to the crypto industry. The floodgates are opening. And yeah, this is obviously going to be more adoption for Bitcoin, giving banks an opportunity to participate in this crypto economy, which is going to open up the doors for Bitcoin loans, possibly other things as well. I saw a story that there's a possibility that lenders on mortgages could possibly use BTC that people have in cold storage or on exchanges as kind of like collateral, or what else did they call it? It wasn't collateral, it was something else. It was basically a way to show that they have some funds there, basically. So that could help some people get loans, for mortgages, which is great news there. All right, next here we got just in Anthony Pompliano's ProCap buys 3,724 BTC for 386 billion at 103,780 per coin 1 day after announcing 1 billion merger. Right, so that is huge news there. Another company that's going to be stacking Bitcoin, buying as much as they can, getting off the exchanges, getting off OTC desks. It's going to be a supply crunch. It's already, kind of seeing a supply crunch as it is right now, as it is. I think just as more companies get into it, more countries and states and everything else, you're going to see more and more of a supply crunch happening here as time progresses, right? It's one of those things where it's gradually then suddenly. That's kind of where we're in this spot right now, where we're kind of between gradually and suddenly right now, where things are going to be popping for us, I think. All right, so that's all the good news that we have on Bitcoin here right now. And let's take a look at the main story that we have here today, which is going to be on Cleanspark. So Cleanspark reaches 50 exahash milestone, escapes velocity in action. They use escape velocity. I like to use getting to scale, basically. I've always said that the miners need to get to a certain scale in order to be able to, one, pay for their operations, pay for their overhead, employees, things like that, and be able to then also put money away for buying more miners, buying more sites, things like that. There's a certain scale you need to get to in order to be able to do this. And Cleanspark has reached that, probably around 45, 50 exahash is the scale where they are actually now profitable and they can actually do those things, right? HODL continue to expand without much further dilution, or minimal dilution, if any dilution at all, right? Eventually, I think if you can get to like 75, maybe even 100 exahash, at that point, you've completely escaped velocity and you're at a much better footing. You can do all those things without having to use the ATMs, without having to use also the convertible notes, convertible debt, all those things where you have to kind of use those things in the beginning, right? But once you get to a certain point, you don't have to do those things. We've seen this with many, many companies that have been growing in the last 20 or 30 years. Usually when they are in growth mode, they dilute a lot, right? But they're putting all the money back into the growth of the companies. So that's exactly what Cleanspark has done, what others have done as well. Jeez, what the heck was that? Wow, that even scared me. Kids upstairs probably playing with something. Sorry about that. But yeah, it's basically you need to fund your growth one way in the beginning, and that's the way you do it, through dilution, everything else that's included in there as well. But once you get to a certain scale, you can then, I wouldn't say coast, but you can breathe a little bit easier going forward here. And that's kind of where they've gotten here right now, as I believe. All right, so here's the news. So today they announced it has achieved its mid-year target of 50 exahash per second of operational hash rate. We were talking about this earlier this week, I think, or even on Sunday. We were talking about which company is more likely to get to the 50 exahash by the end of this month, which were two companies that were planning to get there, Cleanspark and IREN. IREN still has a couple more days to announce something. But so far, Cleanspark has beat them to the punch here. They obviously got to 50 exahash, and the stock has done actually exceptionally well today, being up 13%, which was nice. All right, continue on here. Reaching 50 exahash is a major milestone. It reflects years of focused strategy, disciplined execution, and relentless commitment to doing things the right way. There's a quote from Zach Bradford there. This growth didn't happen by chance. It's the result of building and operating our own infrastructure, often from the ground up, which has given us control, resilience, and scalability needed to lead in the industry. As a public miner, they are the only ones that have gotten to 50 exahash with their own sites and own infrastructure, right? Mara has gotten obviously to 50 exahash, but they have like 55 or 65% of their own sites, and the rest is still hosted through third parties, right? So that's the way that they got there. And then continuing on here, Cleanspark's infrastructure portfolio spans more than 30 locations across Georgia, Mississippi, Tennessee, and Wyoming, with vertically integrated control over energy procurement, development, and operations. The company's approach emphasizes long-term sustainability, high uptime, and low marginal cost per Bitcoin. I'd like to see that actually come down a little bit more, but it's still really, really good. It's like the second best in the industry that at least I cover here. We've never pursued growth for its own sake. Bradford continued. Every new megawatt and every additional exahash has been deliberately designed to create long-term shareholder value and advance our vision of becoming the global leader in Bitcoin mining built right here in rural America, which is true. They've done a fantastic job ever since they started mining back in 2021 when they bought their first site. Started operating, I think, with like 100 petahash in January 2021, and they have grown, I mean, like the best growth that we've seen out here, along with IREN. I would have to kind of put those two miners together in the same boat, right? As far as execution, growth, and things like that, both have done really, really well doing that. As we look to the future, Cleanspark has laid the foundation to achieve 60 exahash and beyond. This expansion capacity aligns with the company's broader strategy to grow with capital efficiency, only possible for an operator that has achieved escape velocity or scale, which is what I like to call it. But yeah, love to see the growth here to 60 exahash and beyond. Like to see them get closer to like maybe 65, 70, maybe even 75 exahash by the end of the year. It's definitely possible. It's not out of the question here, so I would love to see it, but we'll see if they get there. At the same time, Cleanspark Digital Asset Management division continues to mature, actively managing the company's self-mined Bitcoin holdings of more than 12,500 as a strategic treasury asset to support growth. These activities began generating results in May through active monetization and yield initiatives, forming a key element of Cleanspark's non-dilutive growth approach. I'd love to hear more about that as well. What's the revenue there from that? How much of a yield are they getting? Things like that. And maybe we'll find out more in the quarterly results when they do those. All right. Continuing on here, we're mining Bitcoin efficiently, holding it responsibly, and putting it to work in ways that drive shareholder value. Bradford continued with unmatched scale, non-dilutive growth in motion, and compelling opportunities on the horizon. I've never been more confident in the Cleanspark's future or prouder of the team building it. Yeah, they've done a fantastic job there. So congrats to the Cleanspark team, Zach, along with, oh gosh, I'm drawing a blank on his name right now. Matthew as well in there. So Zach, Matthew, and everybody else that is a part of Cleanspark, congratulations. Job well done here. You guys have gotten to 50 exahash. When you said you're going to do it, now give us a nice little hope, or at least some guidance. Give us some nice guidance that you're getting to like 75 exahash and beyond that this year or something like that. I'd love to see it. I think the stock would love to see it as well. But what does that mean for us going here forward with Cleanspark being at 50 exahash now? Well, it means definitely more revenue here. As long as Bitcoin stays where it's at, network hash rate doesn't go too wild on us, it does mean that Cleanspark here, having that 50 exahash right now plugged in. I don't know exactly for how many days they were mining here in June, but I'm guessing somewhere around 15 days, more or less, right? They installed approximately, what did they install here? Sorry, keep going back and forth here. They installed, oh, I don't have it in here. Where do I have it in here? Probably in here. Let's see. They installed about 4.4 exahash, right? So I'm sure it wasn't all plugged in all at once. I'm guessing it was all kind of over time throughout the month being plugged in. So that's why I give them like 15 days on average for mining that, which might be kind of low. We'll see when they actually report the numbers for Bitcoin being mined here on that one. But what does that mean right now? Well, it means right now that their current revenue estimate is around 75 million, which is about a $3 million increase from just in May of 2025, right? But if we have them mining at more closer to 30 days on that, we're at almost 78.6 million at that point in revenue. So that's an additional increase of approximately $7 million in additional revenue, right? So 7 million in additional revenue, multiply that times 12, you're looking at, what's it going to be? $8.4 million, no, $84 million extra on it, right? So if we're looking at just the run rate there at 78 million roughly, let's just go with 79 because I'm not even including in here the transaction fees that they're going to be getting more likely. But if we just do that and take, let's just do 80 million a month right now is the run rate. Times 12 months, you're looking at about $960 million in revenue per year as long as Bitcoin stays above these levels, right? Bitcoin hash rate doesn't get too crazy on us. That's definitely a skipping velocity and getting to scale, which is what I really wanted to see in these miners here. That's what I was targeting. I was looking for miners that are going to get to scale. That way they can fund their operations going forward without having to be a huge burden on taxpayers, on shareholders going forward. So they've done that. So congratulations on that. And that should definitely help out going forward here. Right, Bitcoin going up in value, that bodes well for their HODL position. It also helps them out with the revenue, right? So let's just say Bitcoin goes to 200,000 by the end of the year here. We're looking at that point at approximately roughly 1.6 billion dollars in revenue a year from Bitcoin mining. That's going to be huge. Where do you think the stock's going to go at that point? I think the stock is definitely going to go up much higher. Don't know where it's going to go exactly, but it should go up much higher at that point. That's just my take on it. and we'll see where they actually end up at. I actually bought some more shares yesterday, as you guys know, and I also bought some more IREN shares yesterday as well. So those are the ones that I'm betting on right now, going into the last 6 months of the year here. We'll see where we end up at, though. All right, so great performance here, as always, from Cleanspark. We'll see where their June numbers come in at, how much did they curtail during this heat wave that we've had, and overall, how much did they mine as far as Bitcoin. So we'll see. All right, but that's it. That's all I got for you guys here. Spreadsheet, Patreon members already have this. I already updated this earlier today, and you guys actually got this this morning. But if you want access to it, link is down in the description for that, as always. And let's get into the Q&A. Okay, see what you guys have to say on that. Any questions, thoughts, or things like that? I see we got some questions coming in here already as it is. Be patient with me, and if you could preface the question with a question mark, I'd greatly appreciate it. And I'll get through all these questions here. Let's see. BJ asks, I've been out of the game for a while. Bitfarms still mega trash. It's still not performing well in the stock market, right? Company's turning around, but it's going to take some time for that. Martin says, thank you, Seb. You're very welcome. Goodwill Day says, my man, absolutely. How you doing? All right, Freddie. Do you think IREN will get to $30 this year if BTC stays the same price, but they sign an AI? Oh, yeah, if they sign an AI deal, yeah, we're getting the $30 plus, possibly. I can see that definitely happening. All right, let's see. Fire Dream says Texas needs to be on direct purchase now as well. Yeah, but have they actually purchased, right? They have the law in place. They're supposed to be buying, what, $10 million of Bitcoin or something like that? We'll see. Financial Ernie, how you doing? Thanks for coming in, as always. Let's go Cleanspark. Absolutely. Love to see that. And I want to see more days like today. Let's see. Fire Dream, that woke me up. Jesus, the loud noise, something falling on there. Yeah, that woke me up and scared the crap out of me, too, a little bit. Godswill O'Day has a question here. In respect to Freddie Mac's question, will a stock or crypto project skyrocket in price if the crypto project or stock signed an AI deal? Just curious. So crypto project. So you're talking like a crypto coin? I don't know if that would. Well, maybe. I don't know. I don't track that space, so I wouldn't know. But any Bitcoin miner that has intentions to get into HPCI, if they sign a nice deal with somebody, right, it's going to be a nice deal. It can't be like a deal for 20 megawatts or 50 megawatts or something like that. You're looking at, at least 100 megawatts plus, maybe like 400, 500 megawatts deal. Then that can definitely push the stock up much higher. All right. Sar says, my stream keeps going black. Okay, maybe try restarting the stream, maybe? I'm not sure what's going on there with YouTube there. All right. Ramani has a question here. Anthony mentioned he streamed today about some caution on being overly bullish on IREN price. I couldn't pay attention. Kids, can you please recap? I did not watch his stream, so I don't know what he was talking about there as far as being optimistic. I think what he maybe was referring to, maybe, and I don't know. I didn't watch the stream, so I'm not going to put words in his mouth. But the only thing I can think of would be the dilution, the convertible notes, right? Those are going to come due here eventually in time. You're going to have to pay for them one way or another, whether it's going to be through cash or through dilution, right? So that's the only thing I can really think of. And then can they get an HPCI deal, right? So that's the big question there. All right. And then another question here. Any idea on the BTC yield dynamics, how much are they earning through lending to? Yeah, that's one of the things I'd like to know. And they've been kind of vague on it here. They just started here last quarter, I believe, or getting into it more so. I think we'll get maybe more details on it this current quarter reports for Q2, which I think is their Q3 or is it their Q3? I can't remember. Might be Q3 or Q4 for them. Let me see here really quick. Right, let's see, where are we at here? It would be their Q3 for them. Our Q2, their Q3. Let's see, Andy B's got a question. I'd appreciate your thoughts on whether investing in Hive Digital Technologies is worthwhile. I'll be honest with you. I love the growth that they have here happening this year. It wasn't the case the last, I would say, prior years, right? They've kind of tried to maintain at least a 1% of the network hash rate there. It looks like they're being more ambitious in their growth trajectory this time around, which I love seeing. But the stock's not being quite valued on that right now as it is. Right, they have sites in Canada, Argentina as well, I think, Paraguay. I said Argentina, Paraguay. I can't remember. Maybe there's just in Paraguay. I can't remember. And then they also have in I think like in Iceland or something like that as well. I'm going off my memory here. My memory's not always that great. They're not in the United States for the most part. I don't know if that's something that's holding them back from the stock price going up. I'm not sure. They are now positioned in the United States with their reporting address being in Texas. So that should help out a little bit. But I think with them growing their hash rate and everything else, plus they're getting more into HPCI, right? They bought a data center that's 7 megawatts here recently. So they're going into all these directions here, which are good, in my opinion. It's just now, will the stock get recognized because of it? That I don't know. I was invested in Hive from 2017, 2018 through, when did I sell? 2023 when I sold. At that point, I think it was. And the reason I sold was because I didn't see the growth that I wanted to see. So that's going to be your case now. Okay, let's see. Gap Filler said, Cleanspark guided to 60x hash in the future, but didn't say a date. That's correct. They didn't say a date. Did they say this year? 60x hash and beyond? What did they say this year? Let me see. Where is it at? As we look to the future, Cleanspark has laid the foundation to achieve 60x hash and beyond. Yeah, they didn't say when. I just said, but I think that's going to be this year. That's just my opinion on that. I think they're actually going to go probably a little bit higher than that, maybe 65, 70 exahash by the end of the year. I don't see why they couldn't reach that. All right, Gary Powell's got a question here. Can you explain the math behind Cleanspark reaching escape velocity? According to Q4 and Q1 numbers, they aren't mining profitable, so have a hard time seeing them hitting the ATM if this doesn't change. Well, I think getting to 50 exahash definitely helps, and they need to get above that a little bit as well. So at this point, with Bitcoin being where it's at right now, I think they were also thinking that Bitcoin's going to be higher in Q1, based on what they were just saying that they should be able to get positive EPS without HODL being impacted as part of it. So I think that was part of it. Bitcoin didn't do what we thought it was going to do. I think now with Bitcoin where it's at and growing up higher potentially, this does definitely help them out tremendously here. Right? If you look at, the big things you probably take out of there is the depreciation and then the stock-based compensation, right? Those are non-cash. Look at the cash costs, cash expenses at that point, and things look differently. I like to look at the cash costs because, well, the way I see it is depreciation for the miners and the facilities as well, that's been paid for by basically us shareholders through dilution. So that's already been paid for, right? That's why I don't really count it twice. All right. Ben's got a question. What do you see Cleanspark fair market value as of today? Thanks. I think it should be much higher. I think it should be in the 20s, actually, to be fairly valued right on their operations and everything else. That's kind of where I would see them. All right. Sarmelon says, Cleanspark and IREN are the only miners I'd invest in. They are the top miners that I'm invested in right now, with Bitfarms being a far distant third place. On that one, I got a little bit of Mara as well. Ben says, Cleanspark is the best. Please play your guitar when they reach $20. Okay, I'll play something. What can I play on there? Gosh, I haven't played in a long time. Haven't had the time. Basically play like Metallica, Guns N' Roses, some Stone Temple Pilots. What else do I play? Some oldies. What was it? Black Sabbath and things like that. I even have to see if it's tuned. I think I need to get some new strings on those things anyways. All right. Erwin, here, some attribute the drop in exahash rate as due to IREN shutting down its mining operations. Any comments? I think it's a coincidence. We were seeing the hash rate come down anyways, and then plus we've had a huge heat wave come through the United States. I don't know if it's anywhere else in other parts of the world, but it definitely had to have an impact here on operations for sure. So it might be just a coincidence. Maybe there was some, but I don't think it was all of it. Let's see here. Surendra. I'm going to butcher your name. I'm sorry. Surendra. Ready. How much Hive stock value will reach by end of year? By end of year, Hive right now is at what, $1 something, right? Let's see here. Hive right now, yeah, $1.85 right now. If they can double their hash rate and everything else stays fine with them, and Bitcoin price actually goes up in value. I mean, I could see them doing at least a bare minimum would be like a 2 to 3x. Is where I would think they would do. As long as Bitcoin gets to like 150,000 plus, I could see that possibly there. The other question is going to be dilution. How much are they going to be diluting for all the growth they're doing here recently? So that's kind of why it might be also not performing that great, right? Because of fear of dilution. Growth, they're going to get dilution, which then kind of halts the stock from going up parabolic at least. All right, let's get back to Q&A. All right. ADB's got a question here. Is DMGI a good small cap miner based on HODL versus market cap? That, I don't know. I haven't done that analysis on those guys in a long time. How much HODL do they have now? I don't even know. I'd have to look into it. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't have that answer for you. All right. Kenny's got a question. What does your model say that IREN should be priced at? Question. That should be around like $20 dollars, $25 right now as it is. What do you think about the declining global hash rate after the U.S. attack on IREN? I think it's coincidental to the network hash rate going down. I think it's just that, I mean, we're in summer months. Summer months, usually we see a dip in the hash rate, especially on the day-to-day things. The day-to-day, when you look at the daily hash rate on it also, there's other factors that go into it. The luck factor goes into it as well. It's just an estimation of the network hash rate itself based on how many blocks were being mined and how fast they're being mined. That all plays into it as well. So you got to take it all into account. All right. S. Romney has a question. Are you still planning to scale out 5% from 130 onward every 5,000 BTC price? That is still the plan. We'll see if we get there and how fast we get there and where the miners are. I might push that off till we get to 150,000. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. All right. LB has a question here. Hi, Sebastian. Second quarter IREN or CORZ and Mara or BitDeer? Well, for the second quarter, if you're looking at numbers for them, IREN's going to probably be EPS positive. CORZ, I'm not sure. They are supposed to be generating some revenue from CoreWeave there, but I don't know how much is going to be there. And as far as Mara or BitDeer, Mara's going to get repriced. I don't know if the stock's going to get repriced, but maybe we know the HODL's going to get repriced for them. Based on the amount that they have there, I think they're up like over 1 billion right now as it is on just the FSB impact on it. And compared to BitDeer, I mean, BitDeer's been coming down here recently, so I don't know. I mean, out of those, I would pick IREN. IREN and CORZ probably for the longer run, because CORZ is going to start generating revenue more from CoreWeave going into the second half of the year, towards the end, and then into 2026 as well. GT says, thanks for your work, Seb. You're very welcome. Great news on Cleanspark. Absolutely. Question, I bought some LMFA a couple of months ago. Due to its manager, it had a great day. It's way too small to track, but it's the one you've heard of. LMFA, which one is that one? Or is that just laughing my face off? No, that would be that. Let me take a look at it here. LMFA. Let's see, where am I at? LMFA. LM Funding America? Is that the one you're talking about there? Let's take a look. Sorry, I'm pulling it up on my chart here. I had a really good day today. Had a nice bounce there. So that one's up 28%, 28.5% roughly today. It was up much higher than that as well. So it's catching a little bounce there. What's going on with them? I mean, there's no news here on them that I can see at least. Let me see. See if there's any news on them. Some metrics performance here. 1 week they're up, 1 month, 3 months they're up, 6 months they're up. Year to date they're up just a little bit. Seasonal, technical, strong buy. Analyst rating is a buy. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't know enough about them. Commercial services, miscellaneous commercial. Okay. I'll have to look more into them to see what's going on with those guys. But yeah, don't know. All right. Paras, when are Cleanspark and IREN reporting? IREN is going to be reporting a bit later, I believe. And the reason for that is it's their end of the year for them. So that's always gets audited, so that always takes longer to get the reports from them. Cleanspark should be reporting their quarterly results probably in early August, because you're always going to be out like 4 or 5 weeks out after the quarter ends. So that's kind of where I would think things would be. Para, you're always very welcome, as always. All right. Sarah Mellon asks, does Cleanspark have cash to get to 60 or 70 exahash? Yeah. Last reported they had over $100 million in cash, but that was at the end of Q1. They have been selling Bitcoin as well to fund their growth. What else? They got plenty of Bitcoin. I mean, so I'm not too worried about that there. And they said that they have enough to get to 50 exahash and beyond. We don't know what the beyond part is. Wes Clark's got a question. I still own 7,500 shares of Bitfarms. I know they are undervalued, but I'm getting tired of waiting. Considering selling and rolling into Cleanspark, your thoughts? Yeah, I mean, that's going to be up to you. I sold a huge chunk, 2/3 of it, back in November, December of last year when things were changing for us as far as the date of when they're going to get to 21 exahash, and then it actually got decreased from 21 exahash to like 19 exahash. That's kind of when I've started to sell out of those guys. And I'm holding on to, I haven't bought the same amount of shares as you do actually right now, roughly. So I'm holding on to it to see where it goes. I own plenty of Cleanspark shares and IREN shares as it is, but I'm going to be buying more of those guys here going forward. And Bitfarms right now, I'm down like 45% on it from where my price average is on it. So I'm just going to hold on to it, but it's going to be your call as far as what you want to do, right? Can the other ones run faster than Bitfarms? Maybe, and so do you take the loss on it and put it into the maybe better horses? That's going to be your call. Let's see, Financial Ernie says, they have been very good at not overpromising and underperforming. I think they'll leave it vague in the case a deal presents itself for an acquisition with better power, contracts, etc. Talking about Cleanspark there. Yeah. I mean, they've still been pretty good as far as what their targets are. They're getting more vague here recently, but in the past they were kind of like, this is where we're getting to, right? And they pretty much hit it on the nail. Maybe a little bit delayed, but pretty close. So I'm all for it. I'm fine with it. All right. NG Jin Heng. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. Why is Bitfarms still a good investment to you? Will they have monumental growth? Well, we don't know if they're going to have monumental growth, but I like the direction they're heading into. I didn't like the fact that they lowered their guidance on exahash and postponed the date of when they're going to reach to it. I like the fact that they're more in the United States. I like the fact that they are trying to get an HPCI deal for the sites they have in Pennsylvania there. So there's some opportunities there, possibilities. One of the things that's going to be kind of keeping the stock down is, as you guys know, Riot is selling right now a lot of shares of them. We don't know exactly when they're selling, but they're probably putting selling pressure on it, which is possibly keeping the stock a little bit, beat down a little bit more than it probably would be. But I do also think that once they get rid of Riot off their backs, I think that will be a good thing long term. Short term, it's going to be painful for the shares there, I think. But long term, I think it's going to be a good thing. All right. Barra says, they don't need to perform, to be honest. Bitcoin is a cyclical play. All these stocks should be short immediate trades. Yeah, I mean, this current cycle, they've definitely been more like in and out trades that we've seen here at least. Price says just setting the target is enough to get a big swing in price and correlation to BTC as well. Okay. Let's see. Financial earning again here. Cleanspark had over 100,000 miners that weren't energized, and also the fixed purchase order pricing. They'll use their Bitcoin to purchase miners instead of cash. Yeah, they do have a lot of miners that are older, right, that they're swapping out, things like that. So that's a good point there as well. They can use that. I mean, they can still probably get, $4, $5 per terahash on those things. And a lot of those things are, 100 terahash, I believe, the ASICs that they have there. So that gives you, per miner, maybe $400, $500 per miner, something like that, potentially. Multiply that times... 100,000 machines, what does that give you? That gives you, would that be 500,000? That'd be more than that, wouldn't it? That'd give you something. I can't do the math in my head right now. All right. Let's see, Barra says, should be out by the time the results of their goals actually come in, my unprofessional opinion. Not sure. Try to understand that. Should be out. You're talking about the quarterly results as the goals actually come in my. Yeah, I'm not sure I'm following you there. Sorry. Chime Talax. Bitfarms is going down the drain. Currently it is because of Riot selling there, I think. GT says, great to hear about Cleanspark Seb. I would agree there. Thanks for your analysis. Question, I bought some, talked about that one. Okay, MNAV. It's holding 3.16-ish in BTC. Any opinion on them? Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to do some more drawing a blank. More analysis, deep dive basically into them to see what they're doing. Leo says, Cleanspark bringing a lot of heat, but will it reach 25 or more per share? I think it's got a good shot at doing it. Right, we need Bitcoin to go up, but I think it has a really good shot at doing it. Ramani, Cleanspark all-in cost is around 90,000 per Bitcoin at 120,000 BTC. Cleanspark profit is around 21 million a month annualized, and 20p gives them around $20 per share. So need 120 BTC price for rockets. All right, cool. All right, Omar's got a question here for Financial Ernie. Are the miners basically in custody in a company-owned warehouse and waiting to be energized, or need to be installed first? See, Financial Ernie says, Omar, their 10Q stated they owned 317,000 as of March 31st. Okay, those are probably, yeah. So if they're swapping those things out for newer machines, they're taking those things out, the older ones, which I've been taking some of the stuff out as well. That's older for them, putting in the newer ones that are more efficient, and then they're going to be selling them, obviously. So maybe we'll find out in the quarterly results what they sold. All right. YKY has a question here. Hi, Seb. Do you think market is pre-pricing in the positive quarter, or there will be another surge in early August when the earnings is out? I think right now what we're seeing in Cleanspark is obviously the news that drove it today, which was them getting a 50 exahash. The market is basically, giving him a high five. Nice job, well done. That's going to be more revenue for them, and then if Bitcoin continues to go up, I think that's going to increase the stock as well. And then I don't know if the market is pricing, or it's not really pricing in the FASB impact on the HODL. We haven't really seen the miners run tremendously, or when they last reported their nice HODLs, the miners were actually going down, but Bitcoin was going down at that point as well. So HODL doesn't have that much of an impact as I think a lot of people thought it would, at least. So, but we'll see. But it's still nice to get a positive EPS on those guys. Okay, let's see. Marcus says, Cleanspark will be one of the few to survive the BTC trough. Again, that's if we have a bear market. I don't think we're going to have a huge bear market in Bitcoin going forward here. I think the cycles are over with. I think right now we're just in a much different cycle altogether. It's going to be an extended cycle. Will we see corrections of 30%, maybe even 35%? Yeah, I think that's going to be the case, but man, with all the adoption that we're seeing here in Bitcoin and everything else, I just do not see a huge correction of 70-80% in Bitcoin going forward. Flame O, I'm guessing that's how you pronounce it. If you had 10,000 to invest now into miners, how would you split the allocation? I would still probably go in 50-50 on Cleanspark and IREN. I like, two different mindsets kind of going forward. Cleanspark, pure play Bitcoin mining, nothing else. They're going for Bitcoin mining. They have a HODL position. IREN, great miner of themselves, as well as Cleanspark. But they're going to, at least right now, they're pausing at 50 exahash, and they're concentrating on HPCI deal with zero HODL, right? So you got two different kind of philosophies happening here at play here. And either one of those could win out really, really well here. Bitcoin goes up nicely. Cleanspark's going to win out. So will IREN. But if IREN gets an HPCI deal, they're going to do really well at that point as well. So I'm betting at least my money on those two horses. So there's HODL going up, obviously hash rate going up, continuing to grow up for Cleanspark, and then you have IREN with HPCI potential, 2 gigawatts of power potentially that could be used for that. That could be a huge upside potential there as well. But that's your choice there. Let's see. Sean Henry, bro, is there still hope for Bitfarms? Maybe once Riot finishes selling their shares. I remember Bitfarms went from 0.6 to 4 in the past. Please tell me it can happen. It can happen again, yeah. I'm not saying that it can't. But yeah, Cleanspark is selling right now towards the very, I would say it's the very bottom, but the very lows of their share price. Doesn't help. And it's continuing to put that sell pressure on there. That doesn't help, obviously, with the stock trying to go up. So anytime that there's any strength in the stock going up, they're going to probably hitting that sell button there. But in the long run, I think there is definitely some hope there. Excuse me. Hopefully they don't do a reverse split unless they absolutely have to. We'll see on that one. And they can get maybe some kind of HBCI deal. They do have some potential there. So we'll see. All right. Andre, hi Seb, hope all is well. It is. Hope you're doing well also. Still holding about 5K of IREN. Do you see IREN announcing something big first week of July? Thanks. I don't know if they're going to announce anything big. I'd love to see it, but you know, nobody knows unless you're a fly on the wall in those meetings. Nobody really knows outside of those meetings. But based on what the stock is doing here recently, there might be some hope to that or truth to that even. I don't know. But I would love to see it. I own a bunch of shares as well, so I'd love to see it. Heinz has got a question here. Cleanspark, are we bullish or bearish, everyone? Well, let's do the final poll here for the night before we close it off. Let's just do a poll. Cleanspark, bullish, bearish. All right, let's see what the poll comes in at in a couple minutes. Rob's got a question. Bitfarms will have to do an RS. Not necessarily, right? They have over like a half a year to get the stock above $1 on the NASDAQ. And then they also have a, what's it called? I can't remember the name for it. Extension on top of that, where they can get another like 3 or 4 months on top of that to get the stock price above $1. So they're not in that phase yet. They're still early in. I mean, they've been only in below $1 now for what, 2-3 weeks or something like that here recently. So there's still a long ways to go before they have to worry about it. But at that point, if they are, after close to 9 months or something like that, being under $1, then they might be forced to do it. But yeah, if they're still under $1 and Bitcoin's at like 150,000, 200,000, then that's not going to be good. Okay. Flamo has a question. Thinking optimistically, what price could Cleanspark hit if BTC is 250,000? The bare minimum, I would think at that point that it should do at the very least, it should do a 2 to 3x from where it is right now. That's the very least. But again, depending where the network hash is going to go, if that goes crazy, right, that's going to cut into their profits a little bit or the revenue stream. But if it doesn't go too crazy up, that's going to bode well for them. It's going to give them more revenue, right? We were seeing at Bitcoin at 200,000, it's going to give them approximately 1.6, 1.8 billion in revenue per year. Right, roughly. And if Bitcoin's at 250,000, at that point, we're looking at probably closer to 2 billion plus in revenue. So the stock at that point should be, bare minimum 2 to 3x from where it's at right now. It could be up even higher at that point. I mean, their HODL position alone is going to be worth, 2.5 billion or something like that at that point. So the stock has to be worth at least 2.5 plus the revenue, right? All that stuff on top of it. All right. How much Cleanspark you got? Not enough. I'm definitely going to be buying more here. I have a fair amount of it. Let me see. I'll give you guys a rough estimate as far as where I'm at right now on it. I probably should remember this, but I keep adding to it, throughout the weeks and months. I just don't remember the number. So I am under 15,000 shares. I'll just leave you guys with that. And you guys can figure out where I'm at. All right. Okay, Rose had a question here. Metaplanet, are you bullish on the BTC treasuries? We've seen a rotation from from strategy into a new play, right, which has been Metaplanet and even similar industries as well. On top of it, I don't know. Some of these guys are getting too much of a premium, I think, sometimes, but I think it's driven more by retail than it is maybe by institutions at this point. So I don't know. We've seen, obviously, strategy go up to $540 last year, right? They actually have more Bitcoin. Bitcoin price is up higher than it is, and the stock price is not to where it was before, right? We can see that. Where is it at? Where's strategy? There it is. There's strategy. Put it up on the screen here really quick so you guys can see this. Right? Last year, right, this was in November, they reached $540 some odd, And at that point, I said the stock is looking like it's a little overvalued. It's gone up a little bit faster than Bitcoin has and probably needs to cool off. And sure enough, it has cooled off right after that. So it did come down, but it's been kind of flat here more or less. Ever since then, where it kind of bottomed out here in late November, it's been more or less flat, kind of bouncing in this kind of range here between, what has it been, 230 to something, and roughly the high 430. So like a $200 range, it's been bouncing in between, even though this whole time they've been adding more and more Bitcoin to their treasury. But yes, they've been taking on debt, convertible notes, all that stuff, everything else has been playing into it. So I don't know. In the past, MicroStrategy has outperformed the miners this cycle for sure. Will that continue? That I don't know. We've seen a rotation into MetaPlanet, right? Where's it at? I got Similar here. I got MetaPlanet here someplace as well. There it is. I mean, Similar has gone up kind of crazy as well, right? From where it started out, that one's done pretty good here. Where's MetaPlanet? There it is. MetaPlanet also, right, being pretty low to where it's at right now. It's gone huge parabolic rise here really quick. We're seeing a correction here. I would maybe wait a little bit more for a further correction on this thing. Let it cool off a little bit, calm down maybe, and then get into it and see where it goes. But yeah, I would wait. It just seems like it's gone way too far, too fast on it. Yeah, even the weekly RSI is still pretty high, at above the 70 on it. I would let it cool off till it gets to maybe around the 50 range, and then maybe start buying back in. You saw buying happening at that point as well here. You saw it happening here as well. So I would maybe wait for it to come down a little bit more. So we might have a little bit more pain on that one. We'll have to wait and see. Okay, going back here. Flamo's got a question. Would you consider selling call options against your shares? No, I've thought about it as well in the past. Others have recommended that I do that, but I'm just like, I feel I sleep better at night knowing that I just own shares outright. I don't have to worry about getting liquidated or anything like that. It's just, I'm happier that way. Okay. Freddie asks, can you show us on your forecast chart where you have IREN valued right now and how undervalued it is currently? Yeah, I can show you guys that. Let me see your IREN. There it is, screen. Okay, so based on the numbers I'm seeing here, based on past performance for the last 12 months in the current quarter that we're in, again between $15 and $22 going forward. Last reported monthly revenue for them, which was May, multiply times 12, again between 26 and 39. Analysts have around $24, so that's pretty close to it. I'm a little bit maybe a little over optimistic on that part, but that's kind of where I would think they would be, right, as far as where things should possibly be. And that's still giving a P of 15. I've come down from the P of 20 that I've had in the past, so I've definitely lowered that going forward. All right. I'm trying to think if there's another one. There's probably another chart that I have, but I have to update that chart, I believe. So we'll leave it at this as it is right now. All right. And then 88% of you guys are bullish right now on Cleanspark right now. So that's nice to see as well. Okay, I talked about that one. Wes Clark, if you follow Flash, he makes a case for MicroStrategy hitting 800,000 or 800 in a few months. Could the rotation happen to strategy? Yeah, it could happen, right? But right now, I mean, I think right now it's kind of like probably being undervalued right now for everything that it has. So there should be a rotation happening. I think once Bitcoin goes up higher, they will also go up higher. Could they get to 800? I don't know. Might be a possibility. Someone says you can't get liquidated selling call options against your shares. You are selling the max upside for immediate realized gains. Okay. Yeah. I don't get into options, so that's just my misunderstanding then, possibly. But I just sleep better. I don't have to worry about it. All right. What do you think of stock price for IREN? Yeah, I just talked about that. I think somewhere around $25 I think is a fair price, if not a little bit higher. Right. If they come out with a deal for HPCI with somebody, that could definitely spike it even up higher than that. Sarah says, who the hell is bearish on Cleanspark? Yeah, I don't know. There's always somebody that's going to be bearish on the miners here for one reason or another. Could be the shorts, could be whoever, right? Let's see. Daryl's got a question. Which pops more from here, Cleanspark or Mara? Mara's way undervalued also. But Mara, I don't know why Mara isn't doing that well this time around. Maybe with Bitcoin going up, maybe that will help. I don't know. But I would think Cleanspark has better operations, historically at least. Mara had fantastic May. I got to give that to them. But historically, Cleanspark has done really, really good. And Cleanspark has also been kind of beaten down here. Plus, we're also seeing Cleanspark not go down as much when we went down from January through like April, right? Cleanspark held its own the most. So that kind of gives me a little bit more, maybe not confidence, but a little bit more positive mentality that it might do actually a little bit better. We'll see. All right. NG Jun says, sorry, Seb, I didn't catch what you said about Bitfarms. Is there a turnaround for them? They're working on the turnaround right now as it is. But they got to get right off their backs, and they got to get some positive momentum happening with the HBCI play potentially. So there is. It's just, it might take a while. Let's see. Question no one talks about Cypher. Cypher, I was on a space with Mike Alfred today. I don't know if I understood this correctly. Maybe I misunderstood, but I thought he said something about Cypher possibly having a deal for like $6 billion with Stargate, but for whatever reason, Sam Altman or somebody else pulled the deal at the last minute or something like that, where that went away, and that's why they went in with the Black Pearl site and got that energized for Bitcoin mining. I don't know if I misheard that, or maybe it was just my misunderstanding, but maybe if that was the case, that's obviously not great, right? But they can definitely mine Bitcoin at that site until they do get something there. So they have optionality there. The reason people don't talk about Cypher that much is I don't know if they're not reporting that much recently here. Their growth is also going to be like to 23 exahash by the end of the Q3, I believe it is, right? So the growth is smaller, kind of like where it is for Hive. They do have still quite a few megawatts, a bunch of megawatts actually under their belt. And yeah, I don't know. We've seen obviously like IREN and Cleanspark getting to 50 exahash. I think that has been the buzz right now at least. So yeah, I don't know. All right. Daryl says again, appreciate all the hard work and research. Yeah. Stuttering here. I really appreciate you guys for coming in. If it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't be doing this. Right? You guys help support what I do. So it goes both ways. So I really appreciate it. All right. Sodahead says, I exited all my Cleanspark shares at $10 since it usually dips after hitting that level. But now that I'm out, watch it finally break out and climb higher. Isn't that usually the way it goes? Right? You do something and then you kick yourself in the rear after doing it. Yeah. Let's see. Calvin says, got lucky with Cleanspark today. Added another 15,000 shares yesterday. I still think it's incredibly undervalued, though. I would agree with you there, man. Congrats on getting 15,000 shares there. You definitely got me beat. But yeah, 88% of you are still bullish on it. And let's see. Do I have anything else popping up here? I think that's it. I talked about that one already. Yeah, I think we've covered everything else here. So we'll see where Bitcoin goes. Bitcoin's still doing pretty good right now, and we'll see where it goes tomorrow. We'll see where the miners go, right? Will the miners correct tomorrow like they historically have done here recently? Or will they actually go up further from here? We'll see. It's going to be another day, and it's another day closer. We're getting to the end of the month here, end of the quarter as well. So, yeah. Let's see. Kevin says, thanks for all the work. Like I said, I appreciate you guys as well. Thank you for everything you guys do for me, coming in here, spending time with me, chatting in as well, putting down the questions and things like that. So I greatly appreciate you guys, and I wouldn't be doing this without you guys. So really appreciate it. But that's it. I'll see you guys tomorrow. I hope you guys have a great night. Love you all, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.